Monday, August 4th, 2025. I hope you're doing well. I hope your weekend was fantastic. Of course, it went by way too fast. All of a sudden, it was 9 p.m. Sunday night, and I had to get ready for bed, wake up extra early, get myself up, get going for a full work week. Last week was nice. Only had 3 days, Monday, Thursday, and Friday. Just because I had that trip down to Salt Lake City, went and saw Scene Queen, Girly, and Deadlands live at the Soundwell. And that interview with Casey and CJ of Deadlands is about to be up on our YouTube channel. If you're not subscribed to us, please do so. KBear101RMG. If you want to get a hold of me, you can over at 208-535-1015. Very rarely do I ever have my to peach their own question ready to go at the start of the show. And this one just popped up, and I was like, sure, let's just go with this because, well, it's something funny. If someone broke into your house and stole what's on top of your fridge, what are they getting? One of those just dumb questions, right? No burglar ever is just going to steal whatever's on top of your fridge and only what's on top of your fridge ever. It's just one of those dumb scenarios that somebody came up with and was like, sure, let's just find out what's on top of people's fridges. Top answer, dust. Lots of dust on Reddit here. No, not my vintage handmade pottery tortilla warmer. Apparently that's on top of somebody's fridge. I have collagen protein on top of mine in a little tub. Then I got some water bottles, and I think that's really it. Lentils, packets of old peach oatmeal that I both refuse to eat or throw out. Cooler bags, cat hair, maybe a cat. Expired cereal that I've been meaning to throw away. You know, I would love to call her my lady. My lady has a nephew that's about 6 months old, and he sometimes will cry, as babies do. And at her parents' house, they came by to visit her parents' house over the weekend, and jokingly, I put the baby on top of the refrigerator. I stood him up on top of the refrigerator. I still held on to him. I'm not going to, let go of a baby on top of a fridge. That's crazy. But I put him on top of the fridge, and he seemed to enjoy it up there. He loved looking down on people. He was taller than me. Got him to, not cry. So later on during the 4 p.m. hour, that is the to peach their own question. It's already up on our Facebook group, KBear101 Idaho Rock and Metal. If someone broke into your house and stole what's on top of your fridge, what are they getting? You can answer it there, or wait till 4 p.m. and answer live on the air at 208-535-1015. You ever miss your favorite concert? You ever actually go to the show and then something comes up and you have to leave, is what I meant to ask? Well, this Oasis fan, he unwillingly didn't see Oasis. He was at the show and got knocked out by a security guard. He was in Manchester, England. He's pleading for another chance at seeing the band after his first attempt got derailed by an overzealous security guard. Basically, what had happened is that there was a gate jumper, a gate crasher, whatever you want to call them, and a group of security ran after those gate crashers, and one of them ran right into this guy named Joel and knocked him unconscious. Apparently, his hit was so hard because the security guard was fully sprinting, tailing this guy, that he just ran right into Joel, knocked him out, sent poor Joel into a seizure on the ground. The guy's sister, Joel's sister, Evie, said that the security guards didn't seem too concerned about her brother getting hurt. Joel was taken to the on-site medical tent and eventually to a local hospital where he remained until his CT scan came back clear early the next morning, which meant that he and his friends all missed the entire show. And these Oasis concerts are not cheap. Greater Manchester police investigated the incident, and Joel decided not to press charges, which I totally would have if I was him. Joel told Metro that he went public with his story in hopes of getting a ticket to one of the sold-out shows left in the UK. Says, I am absolutely gutted not have seen Oasis. We were just looking forward to have a good time, and literally within 15 minutes, all heck breaks loose. I would love to see them live. They're my favorite band. Now, the last thing you want to do is try to plead to the guys in Oasis. I feel like those two dudes are emotionless. They don't have any sympathy for anybody. I'm sure if they heard this story, they would laugh, to be quite honest. If I were in a band, I'd immediately invite this guy back to the show. Immediately, you have to. Poor guy just gets knocked out by security. No, I couldn't imagine. I couldn't imagine just all of a sudden turning a corner, next thing you know, some flash of yellow, pops up in front of you. Next thing you know, you're knocked out on the ground. Getting knocked out looks scary, to be quite honest. I've been punched in the face before. Not hard enough to be knocked out. No, I do not want to feel what it's like to be knocked out either. It looks terrifying. Anyway, let's brighten things up here with Baby Metal, Electric Callboy, Ratatata on K-Bear 101. Clearly, AI is in the news a lot. A lot. Microsoft just released this massive study looking at the kinds of jobs most likely to be impacted by generative AI. And yeah, if you're in a white-collar gig, this might hit close to home. They analyzed over 200,000 real-world interactions with Copilot, Microsoft's AI assistant, and found that a lot of the work getting offloaded to AI is happening in roles like interpreting, translating, PR, marketing, teaching at the college level, HR as well. Basically, anything that involves a lot of typing, thinking, or talking. So basically, most of us. On the other hand, jobs that require you to be physically present, think water treatment operators, construction workers, mechanics, even dredge operators, those are pretty safe for now. AI can't run a forklift yet. But here's the twist. It's not about AI replacing people outright. The research says these jobs aren't being eliminated, they're being reshaped. AI is taking over the repetitive stuff, summarizing notes, replying to emails, pulling data so humans can focus on what they actually require. Humans can focus on what actually requires judgment, emotion, or creativity. Gen Z is still not taking any chances. Most young people entering the workforce say they're already shifting away from office jobs because they don't think those roles will exist in 10 years. A lot of them are leaning into trades or healthcare, stuff that actually requires being a person, not just a brain behind a keyboard. And if you got a college degree, don't think you're in the clear. The study actually found that the jobs requiring a degree were more likely to be affected by AI than those that don't. Bottom line, it's not AI versus you. It's AI plus the person who knows how to use it better than you. So adapt or get adapted. Every summer has its trend, right? Last year it was pickleball. This year, beach balls, but not in the way that you're thinking. According to a new report, there's been a bizarre spike in online interest, and I'm choosing my words carefully here, in people who are really, really into beach balls. Not playing volleyball with them, not using them for pool parties. We're talking full-blown fascination. This niche corner of the internet is obsessed with inflating them, bouncing them, even popping them. Well, I can't really go into detail here, but the official term is inflatable lovers. And they're not exactly new, but apparently U.S. search trends for this have exploded this summer. The inflatable content scene is now a whole vibe, apparently. If you're into that sort of thing, cool. If your idea of a wild Friday night involves whispering sweet nothings to a 6-foot beach ball, live your truth, you know? Just don't bring it to the office party, that type of thing, right? Dallas Cowboys linebacker Micah Parsons has officially requested a trade. Contract battles between players and owners are nothing new. Even now, Washington Commanders wide receiver Terry McLaurin and Cincinnati Bengals defensive lineman Trey Hendrickson are disgruntled. This beef Parsons has with the Cowboys is next level because Parsons is arguably the best defensive player in the NFL, and the Cowboys are America's team. These things almost always have a way of working themselves out. But in the meantime, we get to watch some serious drama unfold in this sports soap opera. New England Patriots linebacker Robert Spillane, I believe that's how you say his last name, Spillane, has an interesting offseason training routine, walking blindfolded. Spillane says that he wants to know the defensive playbook so perfectly that he can recall it all with his eyes closed. So to train his brain, he walks up mountains and notices where the rocks are, the way the ground tilts, and which branches could leave a black eye. Then Spillane comes back the next day and does the walk with his eyes shut. The next trip, he does it backwards and blindfolded. As he explains, as a middle linebacker, you've really got to rely on your instincts and your trust. Wrigley Field, home of the Chicago Cubs, will host the Major League Baseball All-Star Game in 2027. It will be the fourth time Wrigley Field has hosted the game and the first since 1990. Considering Chicago is such a big baseball city, It is strange that so much time has passed since Chicago got the nod, but give the Cubs credit. They spend more than $500 million on ballpark renovations that were completed in 2019 to help their case in hosting the game, and in June, the Chicago City Council approved a $32 million plan to upgrade security around the stadium. In case you were wondering, the Atlanta Braves hosted the All-Star Game this year at Truist Park, and the 2026 All-Star Game will take place at the Philadelphia Phillies Citizens Bank Park. That does it for your Shot Clock Sports Update right here on K-Bear 101. So on Friday last week, there was that rogue reptile named Goose, the interstate fugitive with scales. Goose, the water monitor lizard, has finally been captured after a 2-week manhunt. This guy escaped from a home in Webster, Massachusetts back on July 18th. Somehow managed to cross state lines not once, but twice. He just strolled into Connecticut like he had a job interview or something, hung out for a few days, then casually returned to Massachusetts. Then on Saturday, the law finally caught up with him. Goose was found, captured, is apparently in good shape, probably a little annoyed his vacation ended early. Goose won't be going back to his owner because water monitor lizards are not legal to have as pets in Massachusetts, which raises the very chill question, how did someone have a pet illegal dinosaur just chilling in their house? Instead, Goose will now be living in a specially designed reptile sanctuary at Rainforest Reptile Shows. So he's gone from fugitive to full-time educational ambassador. Cool. Good for Goose. Glad he's no longer... the goose is on the loose. I did see an OJ reference here. A goose no longer loose. Funny. This is a little dark, but also kind of fascinating at the same time. There's a zoo in Denmark. I wish I had the lead singer of Volbeat here in studio to properly say the name of the zoo. The Aalborg Zoo. That's now asking the public to donate their unwanted small pets or even horses, not to rehome them, but to feed them to the predators. They're saying animals like chickens, rabbits, guinea pigs, and horses are a part of a more natural diet for their big cats and birds of prey. Apparently, whole prey is the key to mimicking what these animals would eat in the wild. And they're not sugarcoating it either. The animals are humanely euthanized by trained staff and then used as food. That'd be horrible. The zoo says this promotes more natural behavior and better nutrition for their predators. And here's the kicker. If you donate a horse, it actually qualifies as a tax-deductible gift. Not your average donation drive. Could you imagine? We set up at the Idaho Falls Farmers Market and we say, hey, would you want to donate to the Idaho Falls Zoo and just give us your animal? We'll take it over there. That's horrible. Forget I even said that. I don't even want to think about that. Peach's Pit Party on K-Bear 101 tomorrow night on the Greenbelt stage. Again, thanks to the Idaho Falls Arts Council. The River Concert Series will continue tomorrow at 7 p.m. Almost at 7 a.m. 7 p.m. goes till about 8. Right there, located between D and E Streets on Memorial Drive. Now, the Optometrists are going to be performing right there on the Greenbelt stage, and they always put on a great show. It's always a fun time with those guys, so make sure to grab a picnic dinner, your favorite lawn chair, bring the whole family to the river for a night of music. Go see the Optometrists live on the Greenbelt stage, all thanks to the Idaho Falls Arts Council with the River Concert Series. I checked to see if we had any Silly Goose in the system. I was going to play one of their tracks because, well, they just made the news. They were all arrested for playing a live show at a BP gas station. Yeah, you heard that right, a gas station. They were charged with trespassing after setting up their gear and rocking out in the parking lot. They're known to do those pop-up live shows at random locations. But here's where it gets even more ridiculous. Instead of packing it up and calling it a day, the band just moved across the street and held a listening party. Same vibe, same crowd, just a different location, which is pretty funny. I mean, they're doing just fine now. But I think what the front man said online is that the workers at the gas station were okay with it at the beginning, but then they quickly changed their minds. But they only asked the workers, from what I'm seeing, and not exactly the owners of the gas station. So who knows? But I think they're free now. Silly Goose being a bunch of silly geese. So picture this. You're out solo camping in the boulder fields near central, okay, how do you say this? Okanagan? Is that how you say it? Okanagan, British Columbia? Just vibing to some Nickelback tunes. You belt out a few lines of How You Remind Me, thinking you're crushing it. But unbeknownst to you, your passionate performance is echoing through the woods like a distress signal. Two hikers overhear what they think are cries for help. They call the police. Rescue teams already in the area for training spring into action, drones, RCMP, the whole shebang. They track down the source of the noise only to find you blissfully unaware. Mid-chorus, turns out your rendition of Photograph was mistaken for someone in peril. The Central Okanagan Search and Rescue Team later joked that the money saved on the free rescue could be spent on singing lessons. It's pretty bad when they're making fun of you online. So next time you're out in the wild, if you're out there camping this weekend, if you're going to plan on going camping this weekend or a weekend in the near future, maybe keep the Nickelback covers to a whisper, or give the singing, or give the mic to your one cousin, your one friend, whoever it may be that can actually sing. Don't be that person like me who can't sing. You might just save yourself a rescue mission. I did hear Victor this morning talk about this, and he blurted out into a Nickelback track. And then shortly after, Josh from Classy with his wife Chantel talked about the same story, and they both sang the same lines from the same Nickelback track. And I'm stuck in the Cannonball studio in between those two studios and could hear it all. All right, this is pretty funny. The U.S. Department of Agriculture is using audio from Scarlett Johansson and Adam Driver's explosive argument and marriage story to scare off wolves. Apparently, wolves have been attacking livestock in Oregon, and instead of culling them, the USDA is deploying drones equipped with thermal cameras and loudspeakers. They broadcast unsettling sounds, fireworks, gunshots, loud music, and also the intense fight scene from the movie. I'm not even kidding when I say this. This is not an Onion article. The idea is to make wolves associate humans with danger, deterring them from approaching livestock, and it seems to be working. After implementing this method, the number of livestock kills dropped significantly. So if you're ever in Oregon and hear a drone blasting a heated argument, don't worry. It's just Scarlett and Adam keeping the wolves at bay. Fashion trends are always evolving. One day it's oversized jorts, the next day it's cottagecore, and now apparently the latest influencers are chimps in Zambia. I briefly talked about this previously. At the Chimfunshi Wildlife Orphanage, a group of chimpanzees has started decorating themselves with sticks and blades of grass. Some of them wear it behind the ears. Others, they go with a slightly more rear-facing accessory choice. They're literally sticking grass in their butts and strutting around like it's a runway. Here's the best part. Other chimps saw it and were like, okay, let's do it, because the trend has totally caught on. Whole crews of chimps are now out there flossing with twigs and greenery like it's Paris Fashion Week in the jungle. Scientists think they're mimicking the humans who care for them, picking up on shirts, hats, accessories, and doing their own wild take on it. So yeah, today's top headline: chimps have invented butt grass couture, and it's working for them. Good for them. Peach's Pit Party on K-Bear 101. A new bill just popped up in Ohio, House Bill 395, and it's all about accountability or surveillance, depending on how you spin it. The proposal would create a state-run registry of people who schedule job interviews but don't show up without notice. The Department of Job and Family Services would log these no-shows, and employers could consult the system when hiring. So it says here, supporters like Representative Brian Lorenz argues if you're collecting unemployment, you should be actively looking for work, period, and that this bill is just common sense to stop wasting employers' time and taxpayer dollars. Critics say the state already penalizes people for missing interviews if they're seeking benefits, and this registry could punish people who have legitimately had emergencies, car trouble, family issues whatsoever. But also, if you have that type of thing, you can just tell them, like, hey, I'm so sorry, my car died. That's about it. Communicate, you know? I've never once missed out on a job interview whatsoever. The bill's supporters insist it's not meant to blacklist anyone, just to foster a culture of respect and accountability. I've never understood people, myself personally, who haven't showed up for a job interview. They just don't show up, don't say anything. They're like, yeah, I'm just not going to go. Why? Why? That's my big question. Maybe that could be my to peach their own question. Well, listeners wouldn't have to call in, and listeners then would have to call in and give me their answer, and they'll have to admit to me live on the air that they skipped out on an interview before, which I don't necessarily want to do, but I show up to your job interview, I guess. That's the overall message I'm trying to give here. If you don't want that job, well, let them know that. Be honest. A 20-year-old Brazilian woman found dead on a bus. What a way to just jump right on the air and start off with that. This woman had 26 iPhones glued all over her body. That's not a metaphor. Just actual iPhones all attached with glue on her. She was traveling from, forget trying to say that. It's from one location in Brazil to Sao Paulo and began struggling to breathe mid-trip. Paramedics spent 45 minutes trying CPR but could not revive her. That's when they discovered the 26 smartphones taped to her torso. Police figures suggests that this was likely a smuggling attempt. Brazil taxes electronics heavily, so some smugglers literally duct tape the phones to themselves to sneak them in. Authorities also found bottles of alcohol in her luggage and no drugs. The phones were seized by the FRS, the Federal Revenue Service. Now investigators are digging into forensics to figure out not just why she had the phones glued on, but what actually caused her to die. Heart attack, seizure, glue toxicity. Pretty wild. I really have nothing else to say besides this. I mean, I could only imagine, like, they're trying to give her chest compressions and they're just cracking iPhones right there on her chest. Thanks for listening to Peach's Pit Party, the podcast. If you enjoyed the show, please share, subscribe, and rate the podcast. Peach's Pit Party is hosted by me, Peaches, a.k.a. Brendan Peach, and is a production of Riverbend Media Group. For more information or to contact the show, visit riverbendmediagroup.com. Until next time, Peach out.